Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're live in the studio, so get involved in the chat and the comments. Going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news. There's a little bit of a intriguing story going on with what is happening in terms of the AFCON, so we'll be getting into that. Plus, we'll have a little bit about Leny Yoro. Plus, we'll have the usual shenanigans when it comes to transfer rumours too. So make sure you are hitting that like, share and subscribe button and letting us know what you think about all the latest stories. Good to see some of the usual suspects and some new ones in the chat. Flashburn52, Heaven Soul, Mick Holohan, Raven78, Jody Pilling. Good to see all you wonderful people. Right, let's get into it. Let's talk about the AFCON then, because the Manchester Evening News have got this. The Mail have had it as well. I think there was a chap from Sky Sports who was covering Sunderland who sort of broke it, I think, on Twitter last night, or was the first one to announce it anyway, about the games that players who played in the Premier League and are representing their country in AFCON are going to miss. So the ruling, I think here, if you can see it from the article, is that they have to report for duty, I think, on the 15th of December. So it says here, Manchester United have been handed a boost after FIFA granted permission for clubs to delay stars heading to the African Cup of Nations. Mbeumo, Mazraoui and Ahmad are all set to travel to Morocco for the tournament, but Ruben Amorim will be able to select them for slightly longer. Goes on to say, United will have their trio for a week longer, which could see them feature against Bournemouth on December the 15th, having initially been due to join up with their international teammates a week earlier. The Daily Mail has reported that players will report for duty around December the 15th, 7 days later than the initial deadline. Now, a lot of clubs are reporting this, a lot of people who are covering other teams are reporting this, and it's a bit more open and shut for them because their games that's a Monday night game. That's Monday at 8 o'clock, the Bournemouth game, and it's obviously on the 15th. Now, some games, some clubs have got, so you see here, if you just scroll up a little bit, you see, it was this, I think it was the chap who covers Sunderland who broke it. So he says there, the ruling means that 7 Sunderland first teamers will be able to play in the first time with derby against Newcastle, with the clash set for December the 14th. So that saying there could also benefit. They may be able to field, United may be able to field Amad Diallo, Brian Mbeumo and Nuzem Mazraoui when Ruben Amorim's side hosts Bournemouth the following day. It is not yet clear whether they could feature, given the fixture falls on the new date FIFA has told clubs to release their players by. So get involved in the chat in the comments and let us know what you think, because it feels a little bit open to interpretation, this. And obviously FIFA are going to have to make it clear, and maybe the manager will make it clear in his press conference if he's asked about it, what is going on, or maybe there's something I've missed. But it feels as though if you're saying, right, they've got to report by December the 15th, our game finishes at 10 o'clock in the evening on December 15th. Does that mean that they can't play in that game? Does that mean they can? But well, they're not going to be. I don't think they'll be able to report within an hour or within 2 hours. So I don't know. It just seems a little bit ambiguous. That it's a lot more open and shut for most other clubs because they've got the weekend games. So they've got the games on the Saturday and the Sunday. We've got the one on the Monday. So we're sort of in this sort of grey area where some are reporting it and the wording is a bit misleading as well, because it's like they should be able to play. Well, okay, but does that mean they will be able to play or not? I just don't think it's very clear, and it is obviously important because Bournemouth are a decent team. We need Mbeumo, we need Ahmad, and we need Mazraoui. They've all played a big part this season and played a big part in some of the wins we've had this season as well. So if they were all available, I'd guarantee they'll all play. Whether they all start or not, you can maybe argue they won't, but well, certainly maybe Mazraoui won't, but you'd certainly expect Ahmad and Mbeumo to start, and Mbeumo in particular. Well, let's say throw Ahmad in there as well. Been very effective this season. So let me know what you think. How do you interpret that? Do you have any clarity on it? What are your thoughts on it? Because if it was just like last season it was Andre Onana, we'll get to him in a minute, you might not be that fussed. But this is 3 key players in a key fixture for Manchester United. And also, they're going to miss more games. You want to get as many games out of them as you can. And this one game, right, I don't want to be melodramatic, because it's like, oh, it's only a game. But we don't know where United are going to end up this season. And we might look back and we could be 3 points or 2 points, whatever, off a European place or off a Champions League place. And you might look back and go, oh, that draw we had at Bournemouth when we were missing those players, or whatever. Or the other way around, you might go, oh, the win we got helps us get there. So let us know what you think. Frank says 1 minute to midnight is still the 15th. It's released on that date. Rid in it says, why can't AFCON be at the same time as the Copa America and other competitions? I think they have to have it sort of during the winter time, I think. Red Devil 1105 says, pretty sure Onana a few seasons ago went late to AFCON, giving him one more game for United. It was different with Onana. It's a good point, but I think we've spoken about this a few times. Onana was a bit of a weird one, right, for a multitude of reasons. One, he basically had, I think he'd retired from international football when we bought him. He was like, he wasn't playing for Cameroon anymore. Then he came out of retirement, or I think he was more or less told to. So it was like, right, okay, we bought this player. Now he's going to go to the AFCON, but we thought he wasn't. So there was a little bit more sort of, I don't know, a bit of a better understanding or a better relationship between Onana and the Cameroon and United, trying to make this work so no one's nose got bent out of shape. Plus he's a goalkeeper, which is slightly different, isn't it? It is slightly different when you're a goalkeeper too. I think you can admit that. And there was like these moves were made so that Andre Onana could go to AFCON, could play. I think it was it the Villa game he played in for United? I can't remember. I think it was the Villa game. Forgive me if I'm getting that one wrong. Flew to AFCON, and it was a bit of a disaster. Well, it wasn't a bit of a disaster. It was an unmitigated disaster. So first of all, I think he couldn't land where he wanted to land. I think there was a sandstorm or something, so he had to land at a different airport, a different country. Then he had to drive to the game, drive to where the game was taking place. I think he got there the day of the game. And then was the manager, I think is it Rigo Bersong, didn't pick him. He said, you got here this morning, you're not ready to play. So he didn't play in that game. He played in the next game and had a stinker, and then was dropped for the third game. So that isn't a sort of a good example of how to do things when it comes to the AFCON. And I don't know whether that's made people look at it as well and go, well, we can't have that scenario again. So that is a bit different. I can understand why he flagged it, but it's not quite the same as what's going on here. And I think FIFA are trying to give some clarity and some clearer directions. However, as it stands right now, I'm not 100% sure on just what that means. Just on Andre Onana as well, he's not even in the Cameroon squad this time round. He's not been picked for the AFCON. So that's how, well, his international career's been going. It's just been a bit of a shambles for him. Jordy Pillin says, and Bumo's had a word with him and said not to bring Onana to the AFCON. Imagine. Red Devil says 11:05, the Villa game where he booted the ball at that kid. I can't. Do you know what? I can't remember. Yeah, people talk about AFCON being too hot in parts of the parts in the summer. Let's talk about Elliot Anderson. So this is is this Football Insider? Caught offside, sorry, forgive me. Man City are in love with midfielder wanted by Man United. So this is the idea that, according to Sky Sports, but obviously via caught offside, that Manchester City have made Elliot Anderson a top target. I wouldn't be surprised if other clubs were in for him. I wouldn't be surprised if City were in for him, You could see City doing something in the summer. You could see him going big in the summer. And I wouldn't be surprised if they went for someone like Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson's, his star's just on the rise, isn't it? He's having such a good season. And I know he's got a contract till, it says it there, till 2029. So it's not like Forest have to sell him. But that gives them a good puts them in a strong position because he's got a few years left on his contract. So they could demand big money for him. And City will pay that. City would pay. If they wanted him, City would be happy to spend over 100 million quid. They spent 100 million quid on Jack Grealish, didn't they? I think they'd spend 100 million quid on Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson is just ticking all those boxes at the minute. Yes, Forest have had a bit of a patchy season, obviously been better since Sean Dice came in. But he's done very well all season. He's done well for Forest. He's done well for England as well. He did well when we played him. You want to talk about auditions. He played very well against Manchester United. And I'd like to see him at Old Trafford, but we have to be wary, don't we, that if City come in with big money, are United going to match that? Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Keep an eye on this because there's other stories doing the rounds as well that City are looking at Adam Wharton. And sometimes you get a little bit of it's like, well, is that really the case? Or is it a bit of mischief making by journalists? It's like, oh, City United going head to head for this player, or is it maybe the player's agent trying to drum up a bit of interest, get a bidding war going, get more money for his client and himself? We'll have to wait and see. But I would not be surprised if there is more than just Manchester United coming in for Elliot Anderson in the summer because he's having such a good season. And like I said, no disrespect to Nottingham Forest, but let's be real, they are a selling club. I know they don't always sell players. I think it was Morgan Gibbs-White ended up staying when it looked like he was going to go. But you'd expect that if they got a big offer for Elliot Anderson, they would sell him. And he's having a very good season. And you can see, basically, I think he could fit into any team in the Premier League. And I think he'd probably improve it. I think he would. Even like Arsenal have got a pretty good midfield. I think you'd put Elliot Anderson in there and I think it'd make it better. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. We ask this almost every week, don't we? Who do you prefer as your midfield target? Is it Elliot Anderson? Is it Adam Wharton? Is it someone else? Carlos Baleba maybe, although his star seems to have dimmed a little bit recently. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about Leny Yoro. There's been a bit of support sort of going on for Leny Yoro. We spoke about this last night on the Paddock podcast. Had a tough time of it at the weekend at Sellers Park. Looked gutted when he came off the pitch, or when he got subbed and he sat in the dugout. And then at the end of the game, you can see the pitch there, looked disappointed. And then we saw Mason Mount sort of putting an arm around him. Rio Ferdinand, I think, has come out in support of him. And this is an article, I think it's a bit of an opinion piece in Manchester Evening News. I mean, look, it happens to all defenders. They all have moments, games where it's not happening for them or they're having a difficult spell. He's had a couple of performances this season that aren't his usual standard. There's no doubting he's an immense talent, and there's no need to get carried away or be melodramatic about his future or anything stupid like that. He's a superb player. I'm sure he's going to have a very bright future at Manchester United. He's just had a couple of wobbly moments this season, but I'm sure he's got the resilience to get through it, and it's good to see that his teammates are supporting him and ex-United players and United legends coming out as well and reminding us that, look, he's just turned 20. He could have gone to Real Madrid. He's a bit of a coup getting him. We've already seen what he's about. I thought he was the only one in Bilbao for that Europa League final who actually emerged from that game with any credit. To be honest with you, I don't think anyone turned up other than him. It was an absolutely dreadful game and everyone was terrible except him. So we don't need to get carried away and think that there's something wrong with Leny Yoro. He's just having a bit of a time of it. And now it just depends on what United are going to do. We're going to keep him in for the West Ham game, or do you take him out of the firing line a little bit? We have got options. We see Lisandro Martinez is coming back in. Obviously, you've got Luke Shaw, you've got Matthijs de Ligt, Aidan Heaven's still there as well. I know a lot of those like to play on the left-hand side, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Leny Yoro, but he's posted on Instagram as well. We spoke about this. Says, challenging days, mindset locked in, work on. Proverbs 24:16, for though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. So he's addressing it, and he seems quite resilient there, and I'm sure he's going to be fine. Let's not forget, this is an amazingly talented young lad, and I think he's going to be a very, very good player for Manchester United for many years to come. Talking of immense talents, there's an article here about Timothy Fosu-Mensah. Fosu-Mensah says it's sad to see this for me, because I think he's 27. I think he's without a club at the minute. So the Daily Mail have done this story on him. Forgotten man reveals the bizarre rules enforced at the academy and what Marcus Rashford did to help sell him in. I mean, he's talking about his time when he came from Ajax to Manchester United in 2014. Says there he had Brian McClare as head director and Paul McGuinness as my manager. They were tough but good tough people, and they were quite strict rules compared to now. Things like you had to wear black boots. I think he sprayed his boots there. He says he sprayed them and then the paint came off because I think he had pink boots or whatever it was. Fosu-Mensah was such a good talent. He really was. And Van Gaal gave him, I think, his debut when he was 18 and he was playing. And then he sort of fell from favour and he got some bad injuries. And it just never really happened for him. And it was such a shame. Because I think if I'm getting it right, there was a game at Upton Park back when West Ham used to play at Upton Park where he was in midfield and he was phenomenal. But yeah, he had a lot of good games. And was it him that gave away the penalty in the semi-final? I think it was, wasn't it, against Everton? And I think that was like Van Gaal sort of spat his dummy out with him. Yeah, it just didn't really happen for him at Manchester United, and doesn't really happen for him since. And it's a shame because I remember me and Steve doing a video a few years ago when it was full-time Devils Days, just waxing lyrical about him because he was so good when he came into the Manchester United team. You just thought this guy's going to have such a bright future. And it's just a little reminder that sometimes things don't work out. I think, like I said, he had injury issues and just a couple of low moves that didn't quite do him any favours. And yeah, now he's 27 when you think he'd be at his peak, and I think he's looking for a club. Yeah, sad times. Always have to use the United connection. He left 4 years ago, says Notch. Yeah, I mean, I think he's done an interview talking about his United time, to be fair, and I thought it was quite interesting, that article, some of the things he was talking about, and there's a little reminder about Timothy Fosu-Mensah and where he was at. Scott McTominay's been doing well. He won Serie A Player of the Year at the Gran Gala del Calcio Awards on Monday evening. Well deserved, yeah. Had a right season last season, didn't he? He obviously won the title, won the Scudetto with Napoli, and now he's won the Serie A Player of the Year. He's won it on the shortlist for Ballon d'Or as well. I mean, what a turnaround for a player who looked like he was surplus to requirements at Manchester United. He sort of was and he wasn't, was he? I don't think Erik ten Hag really wanted him to go. I think he wanted to keep him, but the powers that be wanted to move him on so we could bring in Manuel Ugarte, and you can make your own mind up about whether that was a good decision. I mean, I think you could say that you didn't think Mctominay was quite at the quality United needed, and you can also say that Manuel Ugarte is nowhere near the quality that United needed, if that's your argument. Although a lot of people make the argument that we should have kept Scott McTominay. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was on the Sticks of Football the other week, and he was talking about that. And I think we've heard it from a lot of ex-United players who were like, why did we let Scott McTominay go? Obviously, someone who's at the club since he was a kid, always put a shift in, and we let him go to bring in Manuel Ugarte. He's just, it's just not happened for him. But it is what it is, and I think it probably suited everyone. I think if he moved on, I'm not quite on the page that it was a disaster to let him go. And I think sometimes players go to a different club and shine in a way that he might not have done at Manchester United. And I don't know if he'd have got the opportunities that he needed at Manchester United, especially when he's getting that age as well. Now he's into his prime years. He should be playing week in, week out. Let me know what you think. Way of Weird says, Anderson is the midfielder we need to get, as you asked us to say who we need. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Elliot Anderson at Manchester United. I think he'd do a very, very good job indeed. We're going to be back later on today. I think you've got Joe and Stephen Howson are going to be having a chat. Also, got Uncensored, that's going to be out today as well. So if you're not doing so, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Also, before I forget, check out the merchandise on the Stretford Paddock store. There's a little pop-up there you can see. I'll put a link in the chat. We've got a load of merch there. Christmas is almost here. If you get your order in now, it should arrive in time for Christmas. So go and check out the store. Check out all the merch we've got. Support the channel. It's good quality stuff as well. I've been Jay Moy. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.